Hi, I'm Tricia Yaleggio. I'm one of the ELP instructors, and I'm going to show you today what you need to know about gathering your materials to make your baskets. So we start in the officers' barracks, across from the main door that's right near the wood pile outside there. Okay, the cooks will be in this room too, but so you, the gatherers or the gardeners, we come in here and you are going to be finding for yourselves, there's this bag, not the Militia 2 bag, it says Militia on it as well, but inside you will find your snippers you will need for your basket weaving. Behind the door here, you will see a big bucket and it says baskets. We will need that. The instructor will have put basket starts. These are basket starts. And the extra pieces to add to your basket to make it bigger. We will have put that aside for you back here already. And the material that you're working with is a wicker material. It's not native. The Kashaya would have been using willow at the very least. I mean, willow's all around. That's what they would have used. And also, they would have had to soak this kind of material before you can use it. And it's important to remember that throughout your whole process of weaving, you want to keep revisiting that tub. And you want to keep your wicker nice and pliable. If it gets dry and it cracks, it becomes very difficult for you to continue your project. So keep it wet. Well, you don't need this, but it's fun to play with. It's the yoke. The yoke will be able to carry 2 buckets of water. So to get to the running stream, you come out the officers' barracks and you go straight over to this running stream. And fill your buckets, but test it, okay? Because water is very heavy. Fill it to whatever extent you feel you can carry it. So here's my yoke. And I'm going to put it so that my head fits right here. Okay. I have 2 little hooks. One hook goes on this handle, on that handle. And the weight all goes now onto my shoulder, and I can walk I can walk a ways. Sharon is now here. Sharon Vilna, you've seen in other videos. I'm going to teach her like I would be teaching you. Okay? So, Sharon, if you'd like to take a bucket and put it into our big tub. Thank you. What your aim is, when you put water in your bucket, you will have your starts and you'll have the extra pieces. You want to be able to get all of them covered by the water. And you will have about 10 starts. Right now we're only using 3. So these 2 buckets, pretty much, I would say you would need 3 buckets. And you'll be able to cover. Now there's a rock that we've collected from the place you'll be sitting. You will not be weaving in here. You'll find a rock in front of the Rochef house, which is where you will be weaving. Okay? So you take the rock and you put it on top of the starts so that they stay underwater. It'll take about 15-20 minutes for the material to soften enough for you to begin to weave.
What happens if they don't soak for long enough?
Then you will not be able to, it will not be pliable, and you will end up splitting the wicker. So we're going to give you some pre-made starts. Here you go. Thank you. Okay, spokes with a long weaver. The easiest way to work with this is to allow the weaver to unwrap. So it's been tucked in, so you want to untuck, until the end is free and the whole bundle is just going to come loose. So we have spokes and we have a weaver. You have one, so it starts out, you can see that there were 3 together and there were 3 together, and they are now splayed out a little bit. So what I'm pointing out here is you're starting with 3 long ones on this side, 3 long ones on this side, but you're going to have 3 long ones on this side and 2 long ones on one side. So what you want to find in your basket is the place where there's a long spoke with a short spoke. And you're going to keep them together. The whole time you're weaving, you're going to keep these 2 like Siamese twins. They don't separate. You keep them together, okay? And the reason for that is there needs to be an uneven number of spokes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There needs to be an uneven number. So each time you come around, the weave is going to sit in a way that creates a lock. So my first weave went in front, and when I come around the second time, that same spoke, the weave is going to go behind, and all of a sudden it creates something that it's much more resilient. It's a stronger weave, okay? I have seen people do it where they go round and round and round and the spoke stays on the same level. And that makes a very pretty wall decoration, but it's not going to hold any kind of anything. It's not going to be strong enough to hold anything. The weaver went behind this spoke, and I want to bring the weaver down as close to the row before it, so it'll be a nice tight weave, okay? Okay. So it went behind. Now as I turn the next spoke, my weave's going to go in front of that spoke. Mm-hmm. Okay. And as I turn the next spoke, my weave is going to go behind. So it's behind, and the next spoke is in front. In front. Okay? So it's like this, what's that song? Through my window, bluebird through my window. It's that kind of a motion, a back and a forth weave.
Okay. So every time you go to the next spoke, you switch, so over, under, over, under.
It just keeps going over, under, over, under. If you have skipped alternating in front and behind, all of a sudden, instead of having that locked weave, that locked pattern of the in front and the behind and the front and behind, all of a sudden you have both are in front, both are behind, both are in front. So you see that difference there? Mm-hmm. What you can do to correct that is just go back to the place where you notice, oh, instead of that was supposed to be behind, this one's supposed to go in front. So you just go back a little bit and you put it in front, and then you continue. Now, a lot of times what I see happen is people, I got it, I can do this. And so you kind of, motor your way through it. And as you if you're motoring and you're just going up and back and back, what you end up, let me do that. That's exactly what I've seen happen. Okay, you end up with a really loose, and if you're looking to make a wall hanging or something pretty like that, that's exactly what you do. But you will end up with a very wide, inconsistent, and not able to hold anything weave. Okay. But it might look really pretty. It might look like a spider web. Mm-hmm. So the point is, instead of blasting through it, you go slowly, and with each spoke, and as I'm talking, remember I said it needs to stay wet? Every couple of minutes, go back and wet it so it does not split apart. It doesn't crack on you.
What happens if you get your start and the spokes aren't all fanned out like this, but they're all together when you first get it? Do you have to fan them out yourself?
As you're going around, because these are already flexible, okay, what you can do, I like to stick my fingers in between spokes and it helps them stay a little bit separated. You can very gently guide the spokes apart. So I have just, all right, guide that apart. Behind, and I want it over a little bit, so I'm just gonna kind of nudge it a little bit. You don't want to force too far. Just nudge it very gently, and then your basket will begin to do a nice basket shape.
Okay. So that if the spokes are fanned out kind of evenly throughout, that's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. Okay.
But you have much more control over the shape of your basket if you are working in closely. And if you're turning it, with each weave, you turn the whole design. So the one spoke you're working with is right in front of you, up and down. And this way you don't get confused, you don't get lost. What did I do last? It's all right there, right at space number 1. Okay?
Okay, so what happens if one of your spokes break? Can you do anything to fix it?
So if the spoke breaks and you're way down at the bottom, get another start, okay? And keep in mind it's breaking because it's not wet enough. Okay? If it's further out in your basket, what you can do is take some single spokes, okay? And you just take a single spoke, but you make a little pointed end on this, and you can put the pointed end right next to where the broken spoke is.
Okay.
Continue to weave around, and when you come back, trapping that spoke in with the rest. And if there's a point on the spoke that you're adding to give support to the broken one, get it down as far into the rest of that same grouping.
Okay.
Understand?
Mm-hmm.
So if you get that way down in there, as you come around, it's going to just be more and more strong. So if I go around and I just keep my spokes flat, and I just keep going around flat, 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 I will end up with a plate. If instead I want to start bending it, the way I like to do it, I like to lean it against my body. And again, it has to be flexible, it has to be wet. So I lean it against my body a little bit as I'm going around. Now I can start to create a slight bend. Make it happen real slow. And you want to pull tighter than you've been pulling before, okay? So it's like you're cinching in the whole structure by pulling it tight. But the tightness, if you keep it tight, that's what's actually going to keep the shape going in a conical, like a cone. So there are going to be points where as you go along, you have these little things sticking out. Once you get a good ways away from them, you can just go back, or after you're finished, just go back and snip them, okay? What we're doing now is coming to the point of adding a weaver because I'm running out, all right? So I'm going to go into my soaking materials and get an extra piece. So the way we do this is before it runs out. So this one's almost finished, and this one's brand new. What I want to do is I want them to become really good friends. So they're gonna travel together for a while, and I'm going to start them behind. See, they're both together, and I'm going to start them together behind one spoke and in front of another spoke. Just the same pattern we've been doing, okay? And pretty soon, one of the friends is going to get tired and is going to go to sleep. And when that happens, there will still be the second friend who will take over the journey and continue to travel on. And it's you can leave it at any point. Once it feels like it's the one that you're adding is secure, you can let go of the one that's going away and just continue your weaving. Now you have this, you have more weaver to make a larger basket. Okay? Still wet, still bending around. And you can always, that one that the two were really close together, you can just leave that the whole time because it's probably not going to be visible by the time you've woven past it. And you do it gently.
Gently.
So it's almost like, you know, how you work with a piece of clay. If you push in one point, that's where you're going to make a dent. You want to start, if this is a piece of clay, you want to start way down so that if you wanted to make it bending up here, it's doing a gradual bend, okay? So you're treating the spoke as a whole and not segmenting it, okay? If you segment, it's going to split. Unless you've gone the route of doing a plate bottom and then building up the sides, it's not gonna sit, boop, see? Mm-hmm. So you would then think about using weaver maybe to make a handle of some kind. Let's see. Let's see. So this is a possible ending, okay? Unless you've gone the route of doing a plate bottom and then building up the sides, it's not gonna sit, boop, see? Mm-hmm. So you would then think about using weaver maybe to make a handle of some kind. Let's see. I decided to take these 4, maybe even 5, and I'm gonna eventually make them do this kind of a thing on both sides. It's going to be okay for it to be a looser weave now. Behind, in front. There it goes, turned into a weave. That's one way to end, okay? And I could do it on both sides. So I get this to a certain height, and then I do it on this side as well. I'm not sure how. You'd have to get creative because I just made it up. So feel free to make up stuff. Another way to end is if you leave yourself enough of a spoke, you can take the spoke and tuck it into a neighboring bay or a neighboring hole there. So every other you skip one. All right, one, skip one in, one, skip one, go in, and you end up creating a scallop edge. You can do that all the way around your basket. You can also, if you have, when you get home, you can put like beads or something on the end. That could be a finish. You saw what I was pulling together, some of the spokes, and just went back and forth and back and forth and back, and I didn't know completely how to end it, so it's just a matter of you just pass the weaver through you know, so that it holds that same weave pattern until you run out of weave and you're done. But so this has the combination of what you can do just that to end your basket, or you can, I mean, you basically do anything you want because it's a creative piece. So anything you do, even if you've made a wall hanging that has a lot wider weave, you just created a piece of artwork. So whatever happens while you're doing it, that's your creation. Enjoy it. Once you have finished your lovely little baskets, you still have the materials that you're going to be putting back where you took them from. And that all came from that closet inside the officers' barracks, right? So the water doesn't have anything in it. It's just water. There are going to be trees behind you where you've been weaving. Water the trees. The big tub, then you take and stick it on end, lean it against the officers' barracks building, kind of close to where that ramp is, so it can dry out properly. And turn over these two buckets on top of the hearth, where you'll probably see the militia has turned over their buckets as well. You will have probably extra little pieces or pieces that didn't work or broke, whatever. Take them out and put them in a pile near the wood so that the next group who comes in can use your dried pieces as kindling, okay? You also have your rock. If I were outside, I would throw the rock back on the ground, and the next people can hunt down their own rock. And then you have the bag that says militia, but it's actually your bag. You put that with all your tools, hang it back in that same area in the closet. Have a great time, and we look forward to seeing all of you here at Settlement Roll.